I just want to start out with a very basic question. You each represent a very unique vision of what it means to be social good. So I wanted to begin by asking, how have you engaged with social good as a Hindu person? And how were you inspired to pursue the path that you eventually did? Umaji, maybe we can start with you.
All right. Yes, happy to start. And I'm going to give a disclaimer. If you couldn't tell, Indu and I are sisters. So I think actually a lot of the origins I want to actually attribute to our parents. A lot of the values that we grew up with really had to do with this idea that our lives are about more than just ourselves and the accumulation of wealth and status and success. The different expressions of it. So I want to even, call in both my tatas. Like one of my grandfathers was a doctor, and after he retired, he ended up opening a free clinic to be able to provide medical services to the broader community. This was a huge influence to kind of grow up and be a little kid and to be absorbing that even when somebody is at a later stage in their life, that their life is about something greater than just, of course, reflecting and reflecting on the life, but to also see that there is some greater purpose there. And our other grandfather was also a civil servant who really took care of the community. And in addition to a really large family that he had to take care of, there were just certain values that were such a core part of what it meant to be part of the family that got passed down. It got passed down kind of through the generations. And I think that so much of that actually is the way that the sense of purpose being about social good gets transmitted is through our parents and through our ancestors' values, and what they show us matters most. So for me, I think my entire life, I knew that my life had to be about more than more than just taking a traditional path. So I started off knowing that my life, I knew I wanted it to be about people in some way, that I was so curious about human beings and what makes us tick. And I actually started off, in college thinking, well, I should probably do psychology, I guess. And the deeper I went into Western psychology, the further I felt from people. It was something that created a lot of dissonance within myself. It felt like there was something about it that was about understanding and sort of distancing ourselves from the study of the mind and emotion, as if we can somehow be objective in some way, as if we're not in relationship with people in some way. And so actually that was my history of science degree, was to actually understand the history of Western psychology, medicine, psychology, because it felt so off to me. And that is actually how I found my way into art of living and into just a full on, our Hindu tradition, our Hindu orientation to how we make sense of the world, how we make sense of our relationships with the natural environment. So I would say my pathway, into doing social good was definitely rooted in the values that my family taught me, but the expression and the lens that I bring to it, it has to do with that deep nurturing that I was able to have. I was a full-time art of living teacher, traveling around the country, traveling around the globe, teaching pranayama, breathwork, this dharmic knowledge to so many different kinds of communities, well beyond, those who were born Hindu, and really starting to see, wow, this is what it means to be Sanatana Dharma. This is what it means that this is so universal. It is so helpful to so many people. And to actually have that be a direct experience that, when I would work with, kids who were transitioning out of gangs in the Bronx, or these kids who were really grappling with such major trauma in Haiti, to see that the breath, the mind, all of this wisdom that we have can be so valuable to so many different kinds of people. And so, from there, kind of moved from that, doing that full time, and really found my way into the traditional sort of nonprofit and philanthropic world that we find in the United States. But it is a forever part of my lens. It's like I can't take away my Hindu-ness from how I see the purpose in my life and sort of how social change itself happens.